Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Trivial Trivia. Today, I'll be leading your podcast.
Yay! Hooray!
And on this podcast episode, we'll be talking about dinosaurs. More specifically, the problem with the Velociraptor as seen in the Jurassic Park series, which in turn led to the Velociraptor error in the Jurassic World series. The dinosaurs existed between 247 and 66 million years ago in a time called the Mesozoic era. That was before you were born.
Maybe my grandma.
Just a little bit. Yeah, they're probably alive 66 million years ago. Some people say it's 64 million years when the
That's a lot of
Mesozoic era end. That's a 2 million year difference, but I don't really know. Some people say 60s.
Don't think it matters. I don't think it matters.
It doesn't matter. It's way before we are right now. And now dinosaurs, there's many different kinds of dinosaurs, like the T-Rex and the Triceratops, and then the Brontosaurus and the Titanosaurus, which is like the T-Rex, but
that's
much bigger. These are just some dinosaurs, not important to the story.
Wait, so do bones ever dissolve? Or break down?
They're not properly fossilized. There are several ways to fossilize bones. One is through tar, like tar pits. That'll keep bones around longer. Like a lot of woolly mammoth stuff is found in tar pits. And the most common way, though, is through petrification, which is when an object of biological base, like a tree or a bone, when it gets turned to rock through a chemical exchange. Like if you've ever gone out west or heard of this, the petrified forest, where it's a bunch of trees that look like rainbows that are lying on the ground. A little anticlimactic because they're not standing up anymore. They're just on the ground. But it was cool. It was an exciting sight, and I got a rock there. Not from the ground, because that would be stealing from the gift shop. I paid like $5 for it, which is unnecessary. But back to the story. So,
perhaps you could continue.
I will. In Steven Spielberg's movie, the Jurassic Park series, he has a lot of dinosaurs that are just slightly off. But the biggest error he has is the Velociraptor. First off, the Velociraptor was more than likely covered in feathers and about the size of a large chicken, and not a 6-foot-tall, reptilian-skinned reptile.
Yeah, that's less scary than
it is less scary. Also, they're said to be like...
But there is a raptor like that, isn't there?
Yes.
It's like switch names.
Which we're going to get to.
Oh, I spoiled.
If you did. Okay, so another thing about the Velociraptors, they're supposed to be like incredibly intelligent animals that are like outsmart humans. But they're not. They're smarter probably than most dinosaurs. You can't really check that because brains don't exist from that time period that are still around.
Wait, how could we even know at all?
Well, you can take scans of the skulls of them and to see how big it is on the inside and like shapes, like how this size. Because with most species, the bigger the brain, the smarter the animal. With most species. Not always true. Like whales have brains that are so much bigger than ours, but we're significantly smarter than whales. Whales are still intelligent animals.
They use echolocation. That's pretty smart.
Well, beluga whales do. But that's not the full-size whale. That's the little itty-bitty one. Well, not tiny, but it's like not very big.
It's like you're going off topic.
You brought it up with the brain. You brought up the brain. Well,
you brought up... Wait,
well, then you say how do they know, and then I explain it. Okay, another thing. So they're probably smarter than most dinosaurs, but we can't know for certain because their brains no longer exist, and they're all dead.
True beans.
But also, they're supposed to run like super fast, like 30 miles an hour.
How much does Cheetah run?
65 for like 4 seconds, and then it has to stop or its heart will explode.
I didn't need all that. Keep going.
Okay. In more reality, a Velociraptor would run slower than a human. So we're talking about like 10 miles an hour. It would probably run like 10 miles an hour. You could outrun a Velociraptor.
I can't run 10 miles an hour.
I can run slower than that.
I can run 10 miles an hour for 4 seconds or else my heart will explode.
No, that's... Okay. Another thing is they were, in the movie, they were listed as pack hunters, so they would surround their prey and then attack. And
that's not true either.
No. Velociraptors were solitary. More than likely. Again, we can't know all of these things about the livelihood of them because They died a very long time ago.
So they
But they're more
probably
likely.
lived off of like. They
Little rats
ate.
or
They ate
something.
meat still.
Yeah, they were still carnivorous. So they would either eat small animals, or they would eat carrion, which is dead meat, which is like what
They probably eat
vultures
dodo
do.
birds.
But they probably still they probably still
No,
hunted
those
but
are-
small things. Dodo birds.
Yeah.
Those were omnivores, not carnivores.
No, they eat the dodo birds.
Oh, they eat the dodo birds. Well, believe it or not, dodo birds didn't exist yet.
Bro, what?
Sorry. Those.
When did dodo birds were around with humans?
Yes, they were. He
There's
was
a
the
picture
reason
with one.
dodo birds are dead.
There's oh.
What is this Hollywood depiction of the Velociraptor that Steven Spielberg put out?
I just told you. It's 6 foot tall, very smart, can run super fast, and it has reptilian skin.
Mm-hmm.
And they're pack hunters.
Oh, yep.
All of those I discussed were not true. Now,
Okay,
the
true beans.
the reason that Steven Spielberg was so off the mark is not his fault. There was some paleontologists, or more than likely paleontologists, which are people who study dinosaurs, or another type of scientists who are similar to paleontologists, who basically do the same thing. Maybe an archaeologist.
It was probably that Asian guy in the Jurassic Park movie.
I don't
He's
know.
in every movie.
He is in all of
Just
them.
20 of him.
Just, well, this has happened a long time ago, much before the movies came out. He was organizing.
Dr. Wu, I think is his name.
Yes, I think that is his name. He was organizing dinosaur bones, and he mislabeled Deinonychus bones as Velociraptor. And to explain what a Deinonychus is, it's a dinosaur that is very similar in appearance. They're both raptors. So it's like a Velociraptor, except it's 6 feet tall, which is what Steven Spielberg
Wait,
did.
so it's basically what was the name of that one?
Deinonychus.
Deinonychus.
So what the scientist did, he mislabeled Deinonychus bones as Velociraptor bones. Another guy wrote a book about dinosaurs, and he used those bones to describe how dinosaurs were likely like. And then Steven Spielberg, he read that book, and he wrote his movies based off of that book. So there was just misinformation because of someone not doing the job correctly.
So
Fake news.
Not entirely his fault.
Yeah, no, it's not Steven Spielberg's fault. And it's not the guy who wrote the book's fault. It's the guy who
He
mislabeled
read
the
it?
thing. But
So he just read it
might
out of
have
a
been. What?
Never mind.
Is Steven Spielberg? Yeah, he read it out of a
He
book.
just used the book.
He based a lot of his dinosaurs. The story was still his, but he based the dinosaurs.
Oh,
off
so
of
he
someone's-
had like a true life event story with it.
No, you know how fiction works. People make it up.
I don't know.
So did
Some
Steven
things,
Spielberg.
some things are real. You never know.
Okay,
You never know what happens behind closed doors.
unless they're see-through.
What is that?
Then you can see.
Okay.
Okay, moving
You're
on now.
dumb.
So Deinonychus is more than likely what Hollywood depicts. So again, there's no proof that they were pack hunters, and they were also more than likely covered in feathers, and also they probably couldn't run that fast. Deinonychus.
But they were. The
They-
Deinonychus are the regular ones though.
They're the regular ones, but they probably had feathers. There's no proof that they were pack hunters, and they did not run 30 miles an hour.
So no matter what,
True
they
beans,
had
true beans.
feathers.
More than likely. There's again no proof of this because
More than likely, T-Rexes
There's
also
no-
had feathers.
that is
Possible.
a theory. I would think them less likely to have
Oh,
feathers
wait, it's
because they're so big,
Mhm.
and they would have the thermal production. Stop touching my hands. Necessary to keep themselves alive because the bigger they're cold-blooded. They're reptiles.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the
Because
fun
they're
fact,
reptilians.
real quick, this is very quick.
Wait, I just wanted to say they're devolved from birds. In the movie, it says they're devolved from birds.
No, it's the other way around. Birds are the descendants. Devolved means you go backwards in evolution, which is not
but-
possible. You can't devolve.
That's not what. That's what I meant to say.
Birds are the more evolved, technically, if you want to call it that. They're the more evolved version of dinosaurs, but technically they're not any more or less evolved. They've just been able to adapt to the
So
situation.
really, dinosaurs are still around us today. They're just evolved.
You could say that. They're very
sense.
closely related. You can track it. But real quick, the thing I said earlier, and then I'm going to get back to it. If for any of you who have seen Honey, I Shrunk the Kids series, there's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, and Honey, We Blew Up the Kids, which is
The
not
big
related
ants.
to the
I just like
related
the ants
to the thing.
part.
You cannot shrink a human because a human does not have the capacity
Wait.
to produce enough heat to keep oneself alive. So if you shrink a human down this size, they're going to die because they would freeze to death. And also you can't make bugs the size of people because their exoskeleton weighs so much it would crush itself. They can only exist in tiny form, which is why the Goliath tarantulas, like the big ones, they're not getting much bigger than that, if ever they did.
And that is why dinosaurs
does that
have
relate to?
feathers.
No, but I thought it was interesting.
Wait, so that had nothing to do with this whole thing?
The only thing it had to do was...
That's what I was
the feathers.
I mean, it kind of
I was
did.
waiting
But
for
I
it
said the
to circle
T-Rex are big.
around.
They have more... T-Rexes do have a greater chance of producing heat, but I don't know how much they produce heat because they were probably cold-blooded.
So dodo birds probably evolved from the Deinonychus.
Well, Deinonychus was the big one. I mean, but possibly, yes.
They probably evolved from
a raptor-type dinosaur. It's a... What are they called? They're the three-toed dinosaurs. T-Rex is another one that birds would evolve from. They're three-toed. They eat meat. And some other things.
What did monkeys evolve from, you think? Okay, yeah, that's true.
So that's pretty much all I got on dinosaurs. About this subset of dinosaurs, which I thought was pretty awesome.
It's pretty enlightening. Because you see what Hollywood depicts and you think that's...
So it's
true.
true. But it's not true beings.
Also, if you say the Velociraptors in the movies are more likely associated with Deinonychus, you just sound smart. Or snooty.
Both, maybe?
Maybe annoying. Maybe like too... Like, sometimes you just sound too smart, you're annoying.
Yeah.
Like, who wants to be checked up after everything they say? It's like, no, you're wrong. Like, let me be wrong, buddy. Like, what's the problem? Oh my days. Okay. Ready?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Bring it.
Today, the Florida man of the day is... A guy tries to evade the police by cartwheeling away. Okay, so he was out flipping... No, he was flipping out, is what I meant to say. In front of he was blocking a Wawa in the middle of an intersection. So traffic was getting stopped.
And he was doing flips through the street on his way to Wawa.
No, he wasn't. He was just blocking traffic. And then the police came over trying to get him out of the way. But then as the police tried to grab him, he just cartwheels out of his hands. And
so
then he just
flips because you said
cartwheels.
Okay, so cartwheels. Okay.
He was just, I think he was like yelling in the middle of the street. And then he cartwheels away from them. And then eventually police get to him and arrested him for battery against officer.
Oh.
For escaping.
Well, they should
Something
bring
like
that up too. The evasion of
and
assisted. No, not assisted arrest. What is it called?
Do I have a name?
Something.
40-year-old guy, Gianfranco Fernandez, in Orlando. And that is all I got from that.
Wait, how do you do that enough to the point where it's like efficient for evading?
Were they actually
on camera
full cartwheels?
So I can test this theory out. I don't think I can even do one.
Yeah, I don't think we can have that.
That could work.
Because
I don't think it worked at all.
Pants just jump. But his...
Any questions?
Not important questions. The only question I had were are his cartwheels any good? Which you
Uh,
probably didn't say.
Well, that's kind of answered by the fact that...
There's a video.
Look at that.
Okay.
Okay.
He had a full-on cartwheel.
40-year-old guy, okay?
That's impressive.
Tom Brady's age.
I can't do a cartwheel that good. Well.
I can't do a corporate.
Oh, and he was also... Okay, he was just living life. I don't think we can have that in the podcast.
Okay. Well, and now, time for the movie. Because... So, for our movie today, we will be reviewing the movie that came out on June 21st, Oppenheimer.
Robert.
Yes, that is Robert Downey Jr. You're correct. So, the movie Oppenheimer follows the story of a man named J. Robert Oppenheimer.
And Florence Pugh.
Well, she was brought up as an actress.
What type of actress?
She played a person in a movie.
Played something else, I think.
Well, we'll get to that when we get to it. First, we have to go through the movie part. So, in that movie, J. Robert Oppenheimer is a physicist who learns about physics. And the first part of the movie is just the build-up of him learning how to be a physicist. He meets people. He was a part of a socialist... It wasn't a part of a socialist party, but he went to their meetings. But he never officially joined, which comes up at the end of the movie, when they were discussing, are you a socialist or not? And he got off because he wasn't. And, yeah. And then he joins the university. At there, World War II breaks open, or starts. And then there's a group of guys who were coming up with a plan for creating a super bomb. an atomic bomb because the Germans had already started or technically, I'm going to make a distinction now for all of you people out there, which I messed up here, but don't call the Nazis Germans necessarily. They were Germans, but don't assume that all Germans were Nazis. Nazism is a political party, a terrible political party that brought about World War II. There were good German people, even good German Nazis who were drafted, and one of the popes was actually a Nazi.
That's
Fun fact.
Cool. That's very
and
cool.
he was not a bad guy.
I respect him for it.
But so for this case, the Nazis were working on the production of a nuclear bomb, an atomic bomb, so that they could end the war and run the world. And so the United States starts working on it. It's called the Manhattan Project, and they choose Oppenheimer as the guy to head the project because he was one of the leaders in theoretical physics and molecules.
He had some good brain activity going on.
He did. And he runs it. We see Albert Einstein a couple times. And eventually...
The real Albert Einstein.
No, he was an actor played by Tom Conti.
I don't think you can say that word.
I did not say that. Okay. So at the end, we don't actually see them dropping the bomb on Hiroshima or Nagasaki, but we see them testing the bomb, which, fun fact, that was not CGI. They used a real bomb or explosives of some sort, which is pretty cool. And then at the end of the movie, he's trying to create ways politically to prevent the overproduction of nuclear bombs or creating any bigger bombs, such as a hydrogen bomb, which would have explosion much more devastating than just a standard nuclear bomb would. And
let's get into where they dropped the
Scandal
bomb.
At the end
Let's
with,
get into where they
Jr.
dropped the bomb.
They dropped a bomb. We didn't see
They dropped the bomb on where?
Hiroshima and
Okay,
Nagasaki.
move on.
We already did. We got past that part. I already addressed that. Anything to add before we go into the amazing cast? Or director?
The only really good character is Robert Downey Jr.
He was. Louis Strauss.
Rami Malek.
I do love Rami Malek.
Who was that? Oh, that guy.
Akhman Ra in the Night of the Museum series. He was also Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, we have Cillian Murphy playing J. Robert Oppenheimer. We have Florence Pugh playing Jean Tadlock.
Not really memorable.
Who was a girlfriend?
She's only memorable for one thing in that movie.
During that movie, yes. She came up multiple times.
Very loving. She is very loving.
Robert Downey Jr., as we said, Robert Strauss, who turns out was not a great guy. Rami Malek, as we
but
said.
He was pretty cool.
Matt Damon, who played the General Groves. Well, he became General after.
Damon?
Yeah. He played the
What
General.
else does he play? I feel like...
A lot. He played...
he's like a music artist.
What's that guy's name? We were just talking about him. Jason Bourne. He plays Jason Bourne.
Okay.
He also plays a bunch of other people. Like Will Hunting in Good Will Hunting with Robin Williams.
Say who plays Albert Einstein again.
Tom Conti, maybe. Conti, maybe.
I don't know. Say it again, though.
No, it's not even pronounced the same way, and there's an I at the end. I'm not going to say it. It's not funny. David Dastmalchian, somebody. He was...
Yeah, I think that's...
the guy who got Oppenheimer sent to the hearings to try and get him slander or something. I don't know what they were doing. Gary Oldman. A couple other people, but those... Oh, wait, is that... I don't know who that guy is. Those are the most notable
Overall,
characters.
pretty cool cast. Had some big characters. Robert Downey Jr.
Emily Blunt.
Oh, did I mention her? Oh, I forgot.
Emily
Blunt. That was Oppenheimer's wife. I thought I mentioned her, but...
Wait, Emily Blunt?
Yeah, she played Kitty Oppenheimer.
Honestly, I probably... If we're talking this way, I'd probably take Robert Downey Jr. over both of the girls. So what was y'all's favorite scenes? Can't say Florence Pugh. That's mine.
I wasn't going to, actually, Joe.
You were going to?
My favorite scene.
No. Honestly, the ending's pretty cool. I do like the ending. I like how it ends when they talk and
the scene with
Albert Einstein.
And then when they zoom out of the...
It just said an idea in your head that anything can happen any day of the week, and we all go bye-bye. Just like that.
You know, that's a really...
powerful statement. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, actually.
Talk a little louder, probably.
Delightful.
Okay.
But what are we rating this?
Rating it 9, maybe 9.5. I don't know. I'll never give, as I've said before, I don't like to give movies 10 because I don't think the perfect movie has been made yet. but I would give it a 9 or a 9.5. It was a very good movie.
Yeah, I think it was 3 hours long, which could have ended up being boring, but it kept it rolling good. Like,
Yeah, it was very exciting.
how we haven't really. So I'd say 8 out of 10.
And I'm more on Ben's page with this. I did partly through the middle. I was
Falling asleep a little, yeah.
not. It was just dialogue. It was getting long, but I still. Movie was really good.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a 9.
Okay.
Nice. Well, that's today's episode. Thank you all for watching.
Go donate. Thank you.